It's really rare for me to get aggravated when it comes to social justice warriors or the woke. After a while, you become desensitized to this stuff. You talk about it every day for a year or however long I've been doing this. And after a while, it just becomes comical. But today's story, this aggravated me. In the past, I have said that Adam Silver is the weakest man in sports. I have called him the weakest commissioner in professional sports, which he is. I've talked about the fact that I have very little respect for Adam Silver because he doesn't stand up to NBA players. He lets them run the league. Today, I have to walk back those comments, at least partially, because Adam Silver is no longer the weakest man in sports. That title now belongs to Jalen Rose. I don't know what the hell happened to Jalen Rose. As a pure basketball analyst, pure NBA analyst, Jalen Rose is one of the best on television. This dude knows the ins and outs of the NBA. I can't take that away from him. When it comes to X's and O's, when it comes to the mentality of a player during a game, Jalen Rose is exceptional. He's good at his job. The Fab Five documentary that he produced a few years ago, it was great. You cannot watch that documentary and not feel bad for the Fab Five. I was super young when they were at Michigan, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. At that time, I was too young to understand how bad the Fab Five were getting screwed. They made hundreds of millions of dollars for the University of Michigan and the NCAA. They made hundreds of millions for television networks, tickets, merchandise, television ratings. For 2 years, they were the most popular team in the country outside the Chicago Bulls. They're making all this money for everyone else, and they're going back to their dorm room at Michigan to heat up ramen noodles. They were broke. The Fab Five were broke when they were in college. I believe Jalen Rose played a little bit of a part in college athletes now getting paid. The dude has done some good throughout his career, but the past couple of years, Jalen Rose has completely lost my respect. Like Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose has lost his mind. He's not driving the woke train at ESPN. That title belongs to Captain Woke Stephen A. Smith. But Jalen Rose is damn sure riding shotgun. He brings up race anytime the opportunity presents itself. These guys, they think they're helping the black community, but they're not. You don't help your community by victimizing them. You don't help your community by twisting normal business practice into an issue of racism. The story I'm about to share with you, I cannot believe there's not more outrage or even press coverage. Well, I mean, I guess I can believe it. The media is doing what they do best, trying to bury a story that doesn't fit their narrative. If you're going to make an accusation of racism against someone, you better damn well be sure you know what you're saying is true. Even though Jalen Rose has very little credibility, even though him calling someone a racist doesn't carry much weight because everything to Jalen Rose is racist, you still can't just throw out an accusation like this and it be 100% false. This is why people have very little trust in the mainstream media. This story is the definition of shit. And it's not just about the false accusation, it's about how Jalen Rose, Stephen A. Smith, and ESPN decided to resolve it. Last Friday night on NBA Countdown, a pregame show that very few people watch, Jalen Rose accused Suns owner Robert Sarver of being a racist. He claimed the way Robert Sarver handled the contract situation with DeAndre Ayton was demeaning to black players. He also claimed that Robert Sarver called DeAndre Ayton a lazy N-word. Now, I don't know the specifics of how the contract was handled, and I didn't research it because that's not really the issue here. That's open to interpretation anyway. Jalen Rose reported on national television. Even though no one was watching, it was still on national television. He reported on national TV that Robert Sarver, owner of the Suns, called DeAndre Ayton a lazy N-word. The problem is that never happened. It's not true. Now, instead of going on the air and apologizing like a real man would do, Jalen Rose takes the typical beta male route. He and Stephen A. Smith, they're having pillow talk one night, and he rolls over and asks Stephen A. to go on the air for him and apologize. Really? Really? That's how we're going to handle this. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. Jalen Rose screws up. Jalen Rose makes a false accusation of racism against an NBA owner. Now, everyone makes mistakes. This is a big one, don't get me wrong, but everyone makes mistakes. You're on radio and television as much as Jalen Rose, mistakes are bound to happen at some point. But you take that mistake and you double it, maybe even triple it, by not apologizing yourself. That is complete bullshit. It would be like me punching you in the face, calling up one of your friends to have them apologize to you for me. Are you going to accept my apology? No, because you know it's not genuine, it's inauthentic, which is par for the course at ESPN. This network has zero authenticity and credibility. Stephen A. Smith, he tried to cover for Jalen Rose. He said he couldn't apologize on air because Jalen Rose was out of the country. What? What year are we living in? Is this 2021 or 1921? You mean to tell me Jalen Rose just left his phone in America? Did ESPN's Zoom account get suspended for lack of payment? We have the technology today where you can stand in the middle of Manhattan and hear a snake fart in Ethiopia. And you mean to tell me because Jalen Rose is out of the country, he couldn't find a way to get on the air at ESPN and apologize to Robert Sarver and everyone else for falsely calling him a racist? I'm not buying it. You can tell that excuse to your dumbass social justice warriors. Maybe they'll believe it, but this guy ain't buying it. This is bullshit. And to be honest with you, it is something I would expect from someone woke like Jalen Rose and a network like ESPN. These people never take accountability for their actions. They never take personal responsibility. It's always someone else's fault. Oh, you just misunderstood me. I didn't say that. I didn't mean it that way. Oops, my bad. Then to make matters worse, Stephen A. Smith claims ESPN never reported that Robert Sarver said that about DeAndre Ayton. Really? Really? Correct me if I'm wrong. But doesn't Jalen Rose work at ESPN? Isn't he a current employee? With that being the case, when he is on ESPN's airwaves, he is a representative of ESPN. Anything he says, credited to ESPN. If Adam Schefter breaks news of a trade in the NFL, what network gets the credit? ESPN. The mainstream media, they are completely ignoring this story. Google Jalen Rose, Robert Sarver. Do it. You'll find 2, maybe 3 articles. The only mainstream site that picked up the story was Bleacher Report, and even they got it wrong. Their headline reads, Jalen Rose apologizes for comments about Robert Sarver. That is a damn lie. Jalen Rose didn't apologize. Stephen A. Smith apologized for him. There's a big difference between the two. If Mike Greenberg went on the air and falsified a racism story about LeBron James, did the same thing Jalen Rose did, just made something up, do you think the media would ignore that story? ESPN would pull him off the air, suspend him. They'd issue a public apology. The damn headline at ESPN.com would be the apology to LeBron James. But when it comes from an African American faking a racism story about a white dude, it's like it never happened. This is the reason ESPN has no credibility. There is no such thing as journalism at ESPN. It's all propaganda. What Jalen Rose was doing, he was trying to be an insider. He was trying to break news, get attention on himself. Robert Sarver, he was the biggest story in sports last Friday, and Jalen Rose wanted some of that attention for himself. The only person lazy in this situation is Jalen Rose. All right, let me know what you guys think about this story. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.